Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host today, Bumpy McSquigums, and we are going to be diving on in and playing a bit of AI War 2, as I'm sure you can imagine being on the Steam store page for AI War 2. Makes the most sense that that's what we'd be playing. But not only that, I am going to be kind of giving you guys an introductory course, if you will, a how-to play AI War 2. Just to kind of get you guys a little jump started a little bit in there, a little easier than maybe trying to figure it out all on your own. I still recommend you check out the tutorials and everything else, as there's a ton of information there and it's all quite helpful. That being said, we are doing this because it is the Steam Autumn Sale right now, and Arcan Games has most of their catalog very, very heavily discounted at 75% off, with AI War 2 being the exception at 60% off. The first DLC also 60% off, the Spire Rises, and their latest DLC, the Zenith Onslaught, is 25% off. So you can save a whole bunch of money if you want to grab AI War 2, or if you have missing parts to your Arcan Games library, you can pick up all the rest for 75% off. Hopefully you guys are able to take advantage of that and enjoy. And, well, the Steam Autumn Sale is running out over the next few days, so make sure you get your final purchases in and you grab what you can. That being said, we're starting fresh, as I told you guys, and we're going to be kind of learning how to play, so to speak. It's kind of a AI War 2 how-to guide. So, we're going to go single player. Again, there are tutorials. Do recommend you go through those, as there's a ton of information there. So stuff that I might not cover will be in there. However, after you watch this, you should have at least a rough idea of what you should be doing to get started and hopefully ultimately succeed. I also recommend, if you are going to play, you do it through the quick start option. They give you a ton of different, basically, campaigns set up ready to go. So ready-made campaigns, as it were. And I have run through a good portion of them over the course of my time playing. So we have basic, moderate, harder, and extreme. We have a civil war, community, fun with factions, and the Zenith Onslaught area itself. And the last one we tried, and I do say tried because I ultimately did fail. It's one of my few failures, made me sad. We did the Dark Alliance, which we had done previously, but I had so much fun doing it, I wanted to do it again, and only this time it didn't go my way. But that was a lot of fun. You basically get a Zenith ally and an enemy after, I think it tells you 90 minutes into the game, and they just explode and start taking over territory. They're also opposing the AI, so we were looking really solid, but we couldn't quite close out the AI, and it got difficult. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna start a little bit more simplistic. We're gonna go the classic fleet, difficulty 4, and that should be a pretty interesting one. It'll tell you not a complex scenario at all. It's just you and the AI, and it's set to difficulty 4. This is a good place to start if you've never played an RTS before, but bear in mind that all the cool and clever tricks aren't remotely here for the AI yet. This is on the realistic map type with 80 planets. Simple ensemble AI type, basic as you get. Your starting fleet is set to classic, which has the most basic available options. It's all going to be good, so let's load into that. We're going to name this Learning is Fun. Yeah. All right. Start. All right, as we kick off and start immediately, thing to know about this game is it is an RTS, real-time strategy, but it has active pause. Spacebar, pause the game. You can see up here whether the game is paused or not. Now, I understand immediately what you're thinking. There is a lot going on. I have no idea what is going on, and I'm scared and intimidated by everything. And rightfully so. Like, I get that. I get that. All right, so let's see if we can break it down a little bit more. These are your metal harvester things. Essentially, you have 2 resources that you really need to keep track of if you're trying to build stuff up and keep things going. You have your energy, which is here. That is a constant. So everything you start building from this point on, anything that gets made, so on and so forth, is going to start pulling from your energy. When you get your 481 extra, so right now we have a total of 537,500, and we're only using 56,100. But as we start making more and more things like this stuff here, and there's more stuff that we build, and you'll see what exactly we build when we go, this number will start to go down. As long as those things are active or alive, that number will not go it'll never go higher than the total, but the used amount, or what's left, is what we're seeing up here, that will fluctuate. So we have to be very mindful of how we proceed, and we got to make sure that we keep the energy at a, sustainable pace, basically. So that's not something you have to worry about too much, other than just don't go and drain it all the way down to 0. The metal, however, well, the metal's a little bit different. The metal will have a maximum that it sits at, and that will go up over time. I'm not really sure. Metal required to build things. Your metal is 2.5. Your metal max is 2.5 million. The number on the right shows the rate at which you are gaining and losing it. I believe as we gain more and more stuff, we actually get a higher maximum, but I could be wrong on that. Like I said, we're going to be learning some stuff, and while that might be an important thing, I'm not 100% sure how that one exactly works, how we get more, but we'll look around. We'll look around. Anyhow, the important thing is we have a maximum, or we have a positive amount, and then we also have a negative amount. This will fluctuate how much we're gaining or using per second, I believe it is. So, thing to remember here is you kind of want to build in bursts. You don't necessarily want to build everything right away, at least early on, because you will get to the point where you no longer have a surplus of metal and you're in the negatives. So this will always regenerate over time if you're not building new things that are requiring metal, and it will keep going. So you don't really have to balance that as much. That all being said, this is the local planet. It tells you everything that is here right now. Your home command station. If this little star thing right here gets destroyed, and by the way, you can zoom in really close if you wanted to, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And these are all the human cryogenic pods, essentially the last of humanity, the civilians, if you will. I believe these are, some settlements as well. So basically, this is it for the humans right here. This is all that really remains. And then, of course, we are going to be controlling fleets. And the 1 and the 2 are the numbers associated with your fleets. If you click over here on the left-hand side to fleets, you can see all the ones that are available. We have 2 battle stations on this particular planet. Each of these areas that you'll see here in a minute, these are planets. We are connected to Tryon and Korai, I guess, Korai. So we're in either a very large galaxy or a very small universe, or whatever you want to call it. We'll say galaxy. And stuff is starting to be auto-built. If you want to adjust what is being auto-built, you can totally do that. If you go to escape and you go to personal settings, you go to automation, it tells you a bit about what it wants you to do. So you can set engineers to auto work, have that on. Auto build factories, auto build watchman frigates. Every place has those. You can auto build the assault frigates up to 10. These cost a lot of metal, so maybe early on it's not good to have those up all the way, or even on at all. You can just build them manually. I have left them off because I do build those manually, and of course auto build all the engineers. Combat, all units auto kite, so that's pretty okay. And I'm just going to leave it basically on that. So if they are in pursuit, free roaming, defender mode, default key is V. This is super useful and should probably not be turned off. And it is pretty useful. All right, so we're just going to cancel out of that. But that's how you control what basically gets auto-built every time you take over a planet. Now, I know you're still like, I'm eager. I want to get in and start playing around and doing stuff. You're just paused here talking. One of AI War or Arcane Games' things that they do the best, but it can 100% overwhelm people, is a lot of games do not do this, and that is they're incredibly transparent and they give you every ounce of information you could possibly want. And we'll take a look at, say, our support fleet over here. You see all that? Do you see that giant box of text that just popped up? It's got every detail known to humankind in it, or at least most. And then you also can hit Control, and it gives you a little bit more. Or you can press Alt, it gives you a little bit more. Or you can hit Control and Alt, and it gives you even more. There is so much here, and almost all of it is pertinent. It's crazy how much information you get. And this is one of those things that can be so overwhelming, especially to new players. So you really kind of need to know what you're doing and needing to know how to parse a lot of this stuff. So if you hold Control and Alt and you hover over anything, it gives you all of the details, and it's pretty nice actually. So if we take a look, a mobile facility that automatically replaces nearby fleet losses and repairs nearby units. Also has some basic combat drones and increased movement speed. Auto builds drones of types of V-Wing drone, Fusion Bomber, and MLRS. It is centerpiece of fleet, support Harum of total strength 2. It's a support fleet. So you can even see over here on the side, mobile support Harum. I think you can possibly change. Yeah, you can change the name. If you want to be like called support Bumpy, you can totally do that. Then you also have your strike forces, and your strike forces are a bit more straightforward. They attack. These guys will follow you around. They have these little engineers here that basically flit around, shoot a little green beam, and like replicate stuff. Repair things that are not being attacked or hidden under shields. And it's super important. It's really, really important to have these. They don't have a tremendous amount of combat capability. But what they do is they send drones out to attack. You can't control them. They just go and they do their thing. And then over here we have our number 1 fleet, which is, again, you can change the numbers if you want. It's our strike fleet. It's going to have all of the stuff that's going to go around and do the pew-pew shooty stuff and make everything regret that you exist. So let's get back to here real quick. We're just going to go through this one, and then we're going to go to the other stuff and just continue. Alright, so we know about the drones. Undeployed drones, a V-Wing, and it shows what's not deployed. Underdeployed drones, meaning I believe those things are not actually done yet. And then finished all construction for Fleet Star Maker Command. Building for Fleet Strike Zethus. Heavy Fusion Bomber, it shows what it's building right now. Building for Fleet Keener, I guess. Guard, Interplanetary Engineer, Jordan Guard, those are the battle stations. And it shows like 98.8% complete there. And building for itself the support Harum and what it has done. If you hold down Control, I'm trying to see what actually pops up. It says construction unit for mobile fleets. Speed is 2,000. Repair allied hulls, shields, engines. Range 5,000. Speed 100. And then that seems to be all that was added. I'm not really noticing too much else, or anything else, to be honest. And then if we press Alt, it breaks down all the stuff at the top. So you see the 100K, that's 100%. Same thing with the 100K for both it's the hull or the health and the shield. And then we've got the breakdown of the speed. In friendly territory, we're 200% movement speed, and then everything else is pretty much the same. So like I said, a little bit of extra information. It's all there. If you know what you're looking for, you can find it generally by holding Control and Alt and hovering over something. It gives you a much bigger breakdown. Also, I believe this tells us that mobile facility flagship, if a fleet flagship is on the same or adjacent planet and is missing ships, then this will automatically produce replacements which will warp directly to that flagship. Also has some basic combat drones, and then it says if this unit becomes crippled, Repairs to it will cost 2 times more until it is no longer crippled. That's basically when it reaches full health. So if it gets all of its health knocked down, it doesn't blow up and you lose it forever. It becomes crippled and then requires 2x the resources to fix it. And it can't do anything else while it's being like shot at or anything. So you can load up your fleets and you can unload them for ease of use and moving around the galaxy. That way, if you have a fleet with multiple different things that have multiple different HP, you have the, or I guess speed would be the more important one. Multiple different speeds, you have a way of getting them all there at the same time, unloading them and letting them go and fight. I like to consider this more of a blob mentality when battling, as you basically get a swarm of units centered around your flagship, and you kind of keep it where you want it to be and kind of control it that way. So for me, I just like to think of it as like a big old blob. Anyway, I'm going to unpause the game. I'm going to hit spacebar again. And see the little green lines coming out? These things are basically getting repairs and upgrades and stuff from the engineers and so on and so forth. Sometimes it doesn't show the engineers doing their work, but they do. They do. Like, we can move these guys out and... Let's see, is there anything I can actually get them to work on to visibly show? Not really. Don't worry, we're about to change that all up. So, most places also come with a factory. I think all places do. They come with a factory, and that's basically how everything gets replicated and built. I've paused the game once again. The next important thing that we're going to have to go and deal with and discuss and look over real quick is going to be the build tab. So on the build tab, anytime you have a planet under your control, you're going to be able to see all the stuff that you can build. All the stuff in green is the planet. So Star Maker is our planet. So planet, Star Maker, we can build a bunch of Pike Turrets. That's basically it right now. Home force field, tachyon array, and tractor beams. We can also build the assault frigate, and this is like a thing that will never leave the planet, so almost like a garrisoned thing. And when I say planet, this whole area inside the asteroid belt is actually the planet. So stuff can come and attack from anywhere. And while we're not physically on the planet, we're above it. This is the stuff that we have to worry about. The planet's just a cool, awesome background, so be aware of that. Alright, so what we're going to do... We haven't looked at a few things yet, and we will soon. All of these things in this, like, I don't know, tan color, these are all stuff that is available because we have these battle stations. Now, that being said, the battle stations can move, and if you let them move around, you can actually use them offensively or to shore up maybe a weaker position that you need to hold temporarily until you can push in further. So I generally don't use them on a home planet. I let them sit there and provide a little bit of extra backup with their engineers to repair and do whatever they're going to do, but I don't usually plop down those turrets in a place like this. So take from that what you will. Now, these are all important to build, especially the force field. Now, this is a thing that I do every time. You guys can do it as well. It helps quite a bit. So I do recommend you do it. Let's go down to tech real quick. So if we go to tech and you take a look up top, this 15,000 science, this is what you use to unlock various different techs. Now you are probably going to be tempted to immediately start upgrading your fleet's weapons, the ambush, artillery, core, and so on and so forth. But there's a thing to realize, a thing to remember. We don't know exactly how our fleet is going to grow at this point. We do not get to grow our fleet by going, oh, I'm going to choose this unit and this unit and this unit. There's nothing like that here. We're going to have to go around and hack a bunch of different places and get a bunch of different schematics. And once we do that, we're able to use, X number of whatever, like 140 V-Wing fighters or whatever. That will then become part of our fleet once we hack that from these various different places, these advanced research stations. There's also a cruiser place, which is our elite force. We can't see it right now, but we'll get to it in a minute. I'll show it to you right now. If we take a look and we click on any of the fleets, like the support one, it will show what's in their fleet, how many slots are available, and so on and so forth. Wait, really? I did not know that. Sorry, I was going to say, you can't really pull stuff from the support fleet, or onto the support fleet. But that's interesting. And then apparently you can. And right now, you go to the strike fleet, you can't pull support units to the strike fleet. So I like that at least. I didn't know you could do it the other way though. Anyhow, you can click on any of these fleets and it will show you a breakdown of what is going on in here. So you can see that this is a transport Mark 1. Doesn't have a lot of power in and of itself. Basically flies around. Has 350k shield and health. That's its power. Then we go into the Bomber Heavy Mark 1, the Force Field Frigate Mark 1, Concussive Corvette Mark 1, and a V-Wing Mark 1. That's it. That's all of our considerable forces. And you see a strength of 2, a strength of 2, 1, and 1. We're not super powerful yet. So, kind of important stuff. Kind of see the breakdown of the fleets as we get additional things. Whether it's new flagships or we're able to get those advanced research stations, this list will grow. We can have up to 36 in a fleet. And you'll see right down here we can have 1 elite. We don't have any elites right now. Alright, back to tech. So the thing I always do to start us off is I always go down to force fields and I plop 1 point into it. Right now, if we go right back to build real quick, you can see where it comes to home force fields. We have 1 of 2 down. This is 1. This is a force field, but it's centered on the shield wall battle station. Doesn't count. So we can build 2 force fields. I build them all usually on top of each other to try to overlap protection on whatever it is I'm trying to protect. But if you go and you spend your first points of the tech into force fields, it not only will increase the power of the force field, making it harder to get through, and that's globally, that's stuff on the planets, that's stuff with your force field frigates on your strike fleet number 1, and on the shield wall bastion battle station. All of them will get upgraded, just stronger shields. It tells you upgrades all bubble force fields that you are able to build at your various command stations. Also improves mobile bubble force field generators, force field frigates, etc. Has been upgraded, and it tells you how many times you're able to do it and the max, how much it will cost. Now, what it doesn't tell you, which is strange because I was fully expecting it to. Hold C and click here. Oh, there we go. So what I was fully expecting it to tell you, this is apparently one of the few times it does not. Oh, that's cool. It shows you the breakdown of all of the stuff in your fleets that you're going to be able to do. And what it's going to do for the upgrade. This is pretty neat. So you take a look here. Essentially, if we were to get it, it would bring our overall shielding up to 660 from 300k. Which, that's in and of itself is great. But the very first point you spend into force fields does something different. It does all that too, but it does something different that none of the other points will do. If we go back to build now, you notice there's now 3 instead of 2. Basically, I'm going to hold down control. It will place 5 at a time. There's only 2, but it will place the max here. So those will start getting built. And honestly, I think that might be one of the single most important points that you spend. So I recommend every time you do that. It's really up to you ultimately whether you want to do that or not. But for me and for my money, that is definitely one that I would like to do personally every single time. So that costs us a bit of our science, 1,500, I believe. And science is a number that ticks up until there's no more to be found in a single area. And then you're all scienced out. Meaning we probably aren't going to see any more science coming in. However, once we start taking additional planets, we're going to be able to extract science from those. Same thing with hacking points. Now, hacking's different. We're not going to touch on that right this minute. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. All right, I guess we could touch on it. There's nothing hackable here, so okay, we're not going to touch on it right now. Essentially, as you go from planet to planet, there's going to be different things you can do. You can like buff your shields or your attacks a little bit. Generally a waste, I feel. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like a waste half the time. I tend to save my hacking points for literally taking over like a giant weapon on a planet, or maybe taking over some... I think you can take over some ships and fleets and stuff like that too, occasionally. You just basically, you can take over an enemy unit, or you can basically hack different installations. And when you do that, the enemy will respond with, forces coming after you. But you'll also get a chance to oftentimes get something extra, like more turrets that you can use, across the entire galaxy on all of your planets. Or you hack an advanced research station, getting additional ships. So I'm going to unpause, let the game run here, and you can see stuff start getting built. It all builds automatically. The engineers will go around and do what they need to do automatically as well, and it's pretty great. New bearings plotted. Say sometimes you can tell them to focus on stuff, and they will. Not every time. There are a lot of tips that come through. I, at this point, generally ignore them, but you guys can always feel free to go check those out. They kind of tell you various different things, and a journal of basically what is going on as you go through. Again, less important for me, having played this a bunch. The outguard is something that you'll be able to do if you get those units. You can call them for help, but right now we have none of them contacted. And then finally, there's intel on just a whole bunch of stuff. Beginner tips, new fleets, critical capturables, and so on and so forth. It just kind of breaks it all down. Now we're going to go into the next kind of view, the overview of what's going on in the world as we know it, or the galaxy as we know it. So we're going to leave the world behind. We're going to hit the tab button, and we're going to see this weird looking thing. This is the galaxy as we know it. We don't know a lot about the galaxy, it seems. It seems to us that the galaxy is a mystery, and it's something that we're going to have to figure out as we go. That's all well and good, that's fine, but ultimately our goal is to find the enemy AI. It's possible it's here, it could be down here, it could really be anywhere. As we start moving and taking planets, we're going to start seeing more and more of the map getting revealed, and it's going to help us make our moves, our plans for what we're going to do. Now, the whole overall concept of AI War 2 is we are the last vestiges of humanity, and we are trying our very best to not be wiped out by the enemy AI, or the AI in general, which controls the entire galaxy. Now, you see the little S shields with a number next to it. That's the relative strength of, or maybe just the strength of, the various different places around us. So you see we have one that's a 2 strength, we have one that's a 10 strength, a 16, a 12, another 12, a 23, and finally the 38 is amongst the biggest and the baddest and the scariest. So if we head down directly below us, there is a flagship and a turret thing that we can hack to get additional turrets. The turret schematic server. And it'll give us a choice of 3 or 4 turrets that we're going to be able to pull from. It looks like 4. And once we do that, we can choose to put it on a specific unit, which I do not recommend. It will give just that unit. I don't really see the point in that, but you can just give just that unit the turrets, like a battle station, for instance. Or you can do it, galaxy-wide. And the galaxy-wide one is much, much, much better. And the reason for that is every single one of your planets will then have access to that turret. So it's going to be very, very useful. If you hold down control while on this, it shows all the planets that are there and their names. So if you see stuff popping up and happening, the AI will contact you very snarkily, and it'll pop up here as he mocks you for doing, whatever you can to survive. Sometimes they'll be like, I'm going to destroy you now, or I'm going to send a regularly scheduled wave of defense tests or something along those lines. And you're like, oh, where are they sending that? And it'll tell you up there. It'll also appear up here. There'll be little like important instances that you need to be aware of that are popping up just beneath this top line. So you'll have to keep track of that as well. It's pretty simple. And again, you can always pause the game at any point to get your bearings or decide what you want to do next. That being said, I'm trying to decide what I want to do next. I believe I'm going to go up to the Advanced Research Station and take that on. It seems to be the quickest and easiest of places to go and to do, so we'll do that. Now, we have one more thing that a few more things that we haven't really discussed. We'll look at this one real quick. The total strength of attacking enemy ships on your team's planets. That's across your entire galaxy that you control. Right now, we control one planet. There's no one there attacking us. And you can left-click to see the health for fleets on the planet, and so on and so forth. It's just a kind of an indication of like, oh, we have a lot of stuff trying to kill us right now. Over here, threat, AI forces actively waiting to strike. Most AI forces won't bother you until you bother them. These units, however, they're ready to come at any time they sense a weakness. So essentially, these are like the AI hunter fleets. They basically wait for you to move away from maybe a weakly defended border planet, and they will send their forces through to attack. Threat is caused when the AI unit is angered or aggroed by your forces and survives. If a threat unit lives long enough without doing anything, it will join the hunter fleet, a far smarter grouping of threat with concerning intelligence. Clicking on the threat icon will show a planet-by-planet breakdown of where the visible threat is. So one of the things that I like to do is try to cut off the escape. If the AI know that they're going to lose a battle, they realize that your strength is vastly superior to theirs, they will try to cut and run. And if you can block their escape path with your bubble force field, they can't pass through it, that actually gives you an advantage, and you can kill them off, mop them up. And apparently it stops these extra forces from, kind of amalgamating. This is the final thing that we really haven't talked about, and this is one of the most important things in the game. It is the AIP, or the AI's progress, and it's basically how much the AI cares about you. The higher is worse news for you. The AI is distracted by other threats outside the galaxy, and your only hope is to not raise the AIP so high that it views you as the larger threat. So it shows you the difficulty. Counterattacks will unlock at 60 AIP, reconquest waves at 70, wormhole borers at 220. The total AIP earned is 10 right now. We start off like that. And the AIP reduction is 0. We haven't actually done anything that will lower the AIP. There are a few things that you can do. And the AIP floor is 10. So if right now we had a way of blowing up something that would lower our overall AIP, it would never go below 10. But it will retroactively, or I guess it goes into like a escrow account if you want to consider it something. So say your AIP then raises by 20, but you just took out something that blew up and removed 20 AIP. We'd be at 10 until we took that thing that was 20, and then we would stay at 10 because we had 20 in the bank, so to speak, which is pretty nice. And then that's the AIP floor. That will raise as we go. The AIP reduction is 0. The AIP floor will raise a bit as we go. However, there's also the AIP never reduces below, and that's like faction or galaxy-wide or game-wide, we should say. So say that was at 60, even though the AIP floor in red was 10, we could never go like overall below. So it says here AIP never reduces below 10. No matter the AIP floor, no reduction will happen that would cause AIP to shrink below this amount, or shrink while it is below this amount. So just one of those extra things. There's like contingencies and some double looping stuff and so on and so forth. AIP floor is the minimum value that the AIP can be currently reduced to, and is increased by 35% of any AIP increase. If the reduction would lower the AIP below the current floor, it is not wasted. It will instead absorb later increases. So there's no need to delay at the reduction, which is very important to know. At this difficulty, the absolute minimum that the AIP can ever go to is also set to be 10. And it shows the next mark for the AIP increase is 130. The game will become significantly harder as the AI mark level increases. Alright, it will never go down. So even if we get to the 130 and then we reduce it by like 100, it's still going to be at that 130 mark. So it will never go below that. But that will also give us some prevention to the, the next mark. So say we get it all the way up to, say the next mark is 250. We get it up to 130 and we're like, ah, darn it. But then we find a bunch of stuff that lowers it back down to like 30. That gives us that extra 100 wiggle room so we can start building up our forces and claiming different areas and so on and so forth. All right, enough about the AIP. We got to see it in action. It's a confusing concept, I realize, but we'll get there. So this is going to be our first target. I'm going to unpause again. And essentially, we're going to go there. We're going to take it over. When we take it over, it's going to be a 20 AIP increase for us. Anything that we take from the AI of these normal little places here, we'll increase it by 20 points. If we go and we look at the planet, we can see it's got some of these guard posts. And each of the 10 plus means that there's some units sitting inside there. And they've got the AI command station and the little warp gate here, which basically can bring some enemies in. It can be destroyed to prevent this planet from sending waves. If done while a wave is inbound, it will come through a different gate, and the next wave and wormhole invasions are strengthened. So essentially, we want to blow this up. That's the plan, to take over the planet. But it's easy to do, and it's probably going to be the last thing we do after we deal with all of the enemy forces. So our fleets are done. I'm going to hit pause again. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to come from Star Maker. Wow, those are really close to each other. That is very strange. Usually they're at least a little bit more spread out, but nope, these two are almost touching. That's weird. We're going to come through. We're going to blow up all the forces that we can blow up. All of this stuff will blow up, these three things here, and all of the enemy forces moving around. The game's AI will auto-attack and target stuff within range and so on and so forth. And if you put it in pursuit mode, which I plan to do, it will go and actively seek out other places after it does whatever you want it to do. Once you tell it to like move here and it'll do the thing, you can actually let it go and it will run over and fly over here and blow this up, split up its forces and do whatever it feels is the most important. It will never attack something that is either hackable, like this is the Advanced Research Station. This is where we're going to get additional ship lines. Or it will never attack something that is going to increase the AIP, like the command center here, or the little warp gate. So as long as you don't physically click to blow those up, they will not get attacked. Never blow these up. That'd be very, very, very bad. Don't do that. All right, I'm going to double press 1, and it's going to bring me back to where 1 is at. You can see it's here. I'm going to unpause and essentially right-click, and your fleet moves. And they all kind of try to center around your flagship. I'm going to press V, and it's going to basically put them into hyper-aggressive pursuit mode. Any terrible bad things that come to eat us will kind of be handled. All right, and as you see here, we're also moving our 2 fleet over, and we're going to load it up. So L is to load, and all the forces go inside the different flagships. Now, since we're going to be going up to Korai, I think we don't need to put our defenses facing Korai. So we'll put our defenses facing planet Trion. Or Trion, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to go back to build real quick. We're going to go with the Pike Turrets. I'll plop them down right over here. You can put them in tight clusters. You can spread them out one at a time. I like to plop down 5 at a time. It's kind of how I do things now. For the Tachyon stuff, basically it detects cloaked units. I like to give myself a little bit of a spread on this, just in case something tries to sneak on through. It doesn't happen that often, but like I said, I like to have a little bit of a spread on it. Now the tractor, again, is going to hold some ships in place if they do decide to come through. And I like to keep them within range of one of these portals. And I guess we're going to build a couple of these assault frigates for right now. We'll come back and build more as time permits. Alright, with all that being done, We are still paused. You can do all your building while you're paused. I tend to do that because it just feels like the smarter play, and it doesn't have time passing when you don't necessarily want it to. So we're going to go now, and we're going to dive into Korai. So I'm going to go ahead and press 1. I'm going to hold down Control and right-click on Korai. It's going to make that sound. I'm going to do the same with 2. 2 is going to be a little bit slower. 1 is going to be a little bit quicker. If you can hold down Control and left-click, you'll actually go through and see. All right, I have 1 selected. I'm going to hit Spacebar. I'm going to go to Fleets, hit Spacebar, and they're through. I'm going to hit Spacebar again, and we're going to see what kind of response they're going to have. My guess is immediate fleeing. I am going to unload 2 right away. I'll move it down here. 1 I'm going to hold on to for just a second. Alright, they're going to try to escape through Orai. I'm moving over there, and I'm unloading right here. And the whole plan to unload here is to block them from being able to get through to the portal that they're trying to escape. So this will prevent them from becoming this little extra threat force, because they're being stopped and not able to run away. I do not know why their metal harvesters are moving. That's a little weird. I think it's because they have units called polarizers. Yeah, there's a polarizer here. Strikecraft with a weapon that is increasingly effective against higher armored targets. Or, sorry, armored totals. It doesn't really say why specifically that it's dragging its stuff around, but it is, and it's kind of funny. So again, we're gonna blow up these forces that they have, and really right now the fighting that's going on is not really affecting the AIP or anything like that. We're just dealing with the forces that are on the planet. So one of my go-to moves that I tend to do, I don't know if that was good or bad that we blew up 2 of those metal harvesters. I thought they would just, you know, stay like that. I'm a little concerned. Anyhow, yeah, so one of my go-to things that I do is, even if I don't plan to necessarily take a planet specifically, what I do tend to like to do is still go through when I get a chance and attack it down to like 0 strength. That way I know there's not something powerful on the border, and if I ever do need to take something in a hurry, I can do so with little stress, little problematic problems coming at us. Alright, so let's go back and look at the hacking thing. So we can hack with a variety of different things. We can weaken AI turrets. There are no AI turrets. We can weaken the AI guard posts. That might not be the worst thing in the world. Hacking to the local AI network will reduce the range of AI guard posts by 50% of their normal values and damage their damage output by 75%. Only works on planets of Mark 6 or lower. And I think the only planets that are higher than Mark 6 are maybe just the home world of the enemy AI, or maybe even their bastion worlds too. Now, anytime you go to hack in enemy territory, especially something along the lines of this advanced research station, you're going to run into some issues. Oh, that was weird. My cursor had like a loading thing on it. Very weird. So if we take a look, we could steal an AI ship line. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but essentially, you can hack to retrieve the blueprints for just 1 per sector before the AI is alerted and shuts that sector. Once all 3 sectors are breached, it will blow up the station. So we can steal 3 ship lines from this. Now, if we did this right now, if you look further down, like down here-ish, it says in blue, this hack is against Advanced Research Station. Because this is a hostile world, the hacking is going to cost 2 times the amount that it would normally be. This hack can be done 3 out of 3 times, and it kind of shows a bunch of other stuff. Anytime you do hack something like this, the AI will immediately spawn in stuff to attack you. So that's okay. While future hacks of this specific target may increase in intensity, the overall intensity of hacking response to the target will only increase by 0.66 times normal. The more hacking points spent, the more the increase will be. So, makes sense. All right, so how do we deal with that if it's going to cost us 2 times the amount of hacking points? So, essentially, it's going to be 24 instead of 12 right now if we did this. And you can totally do that, that's fine, but we are taking this world regardless, so we're going to go blow up the rest of these real quick. What is our moves? Okay, I'm gonna increase our movement speed here to get around a little bit quicker. The drones are making their own flight paths, and they're taking on one of these themselves. We're taking one over here with our people. Apparently the drones are stronger than we are. Well, what the drones are doing is basically ignoring almost all of the shielding, while we're actually going through the shielding and destroying it. And we're gonna go blow this one up too. Alright, I'm going to move to, I guess, kind of here-ish. And you see, they'll start auto-attacking when they're in range, even though I'm, like, not telling them to attack necessarily. As long as they're within range to attack, they will actually launch their attacks. Now, even within a system, say, you know, these are the last things that we needed to do. Maybe we wanted to hightail it back down here. Instead of slowly clicking our fleet, we can always load it back up and move. But there's like a 10-second delay once you do load and unload your ship before it can actually attack. So something to always be aware of. So we're going to blow this up. When we blow this up, this also blows up. It's going to be a 20 AIP gain. It'll push us up to 30. So here it goes. So 15 plus 5. And we explored 6 planets adjacent to existing explored planets. And essentially, we just got a much larger picture about what's going on in the galaxy. We can see further, and we can start making plans or concessions or whatever you want to call it toward these different goals. Now, for me, I see a couple things that I like. All these little icons and stuff, they all mean different things. So Advanced Research Station, this is the turret schematic. These are flagships, and this one is a mobile combat factory, much like our support fleet. Over here, this is going to be a large energy reactor, essentially giving us a big giant chunk of output for our energy, which, if you remember, we had it up to like 460k. Building the stuff that we built in our main planet lowered that to 277k is available. And I don't know why our total outflow is even right now. It may be because, actually I have no idea. Why is that? Huh. Our inflow is high. I don't know why it's not showing that. It's weird. It should show us the plus or minus all the time. I don't know where that went. I must have hit a button or something to remove it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So now that we've taken this from the enemy AI, we haven't claimed it, but we took it from the enemy AI. It's now, if we go to hack, its hacking time is 0.5 of normal. So we hack faster, and it costs us half as much. So good times all around. And if that wasn't enough for you, we're going to go to build. We get a choice. Anytime we want to take a planet for ourselves, we have a choice of what to build. Let's go take a quick look here. We have 4 points connecting to this, but I full well plan on taking this place and keeping it and using this as like kind of a staging ground to attack other places. So I plan to attack this spot, and I'm going to hold this spot as a military outpost, which should be able to more or less defend itself against normal attacks. This one, I'd like to make it economic because I want to claim this, and this, and it's all going to be really, really good stuff. But leaving this as economic, if this side gets angry and wants to attack, it's not going to have a lot of defenses yet. So it's a risk, but it's a risk that I'm going to take, because we can always fly back here with our fleet, given the right circumstances, and defend with it. So I'm going to go economic. Now, economic will give you the most economically. Makes sense, right? So it says economic focused with high metal energy output, but very little defensive capability. So it produces 400 metal per second, adds 300,000 to your metal storage, and generates 500k energy. The defensive structure cap is at 40%. Planetary speed boost is 2x, and then it shows a bunch of other information on what you can build. Now the logistics is kind of a cross between the military and the command. We'll switch to that one last. Let's go see what the command is. This is a high defensive capability with almost no economy. Grants a damage bonus to allies on this planet at higher mark and has the most turrets. So essentially, this is one where you know you're kind of vulnerable from multiple sides, or you're cutting off a choke point, maybe even like a one-off choke point, and you're like, okay, well, they can't get to me from here. We're going to be fine. This is a very good place to kind of make a choke point or a bulkhead or whatever you want to call it, where they can't get through. And it tells you that you get 50 metal per second, which is very low. Adds 50,000 of metal storage and generates 70,000 energy, which you will spend more energy than it generates if you build everything you can build on a military command station. And then you have the kind of the middle child here, the logistical support one. Balanced economy and defensive capability. It has more force fields, tractors, and engineers, and watches neighborhood planets. Majorly increases the speed of allied units. I do not use logistics as much as I probably should. If I'm being fair and honest, I use almost exclusively economic and military command. I like to kind of min-max, and I don't know if that's even a thing that I'm doing correctly, but it's one of those things that I do. So essentially, this one gives us 90 metal per second, adds 600,000 of metal storage, and generates 175 energy. So let's go and take a look at how that stacks up. 400 metal per second, 300,000 storage. This actually adds more storage. I didn't know that. But this generates over 2.5 times, I want to say, the actual energy generated by the logistics. And the logistics does almost about 2.5 times what the military does. So there's options. If you don't know what you should do, or you're afraid your economic might not work, maybe it's just a good idea to go right down the whole logistics command spot. And you know what? I think maybe we will make this first one on logistics. Why not? We'll do it. Alright, so we're going to plop this down. Honestly, I have no idea, because they're all kind of horrible choices. Like, it doesn't matter where we plop it down at necessarily. It doesn't matter. Alright, I'm just going to plop it here, whatever. It's fine. Gonna unpause, let that get built. And it's going to be pretty quick. And boom. It's going to start auto-building all those things that we had set. But there's certain things that it won't, so we're going to go ahead and build those up. We're going to put all of our force fields on top of one another. Bloop. We got a couple gravity generators to slow the roll of enemy forces coming through. So we'll plop those down. We got a bunch of tachyon wheelies we can toss out, and we will do so. We've got enough for, yeah, a few more. Okay, and then we have tractors. We don't have as many tractors as we did before. I think the biggest threat is going to be from, that's either Dry or Ori. It's Ori. So, or Ori? Roy? I got nothing. I'm going to plop them all down right here to hold. We also have the Paralysis Mines. This is exclusive to the logistics, and you can basically plop these down, and if the enemy forces come through, they will get hit by the mines, and it will basically stop them dead in their tracks, at least for a little while. And we finally have the Pike Turrets. I'm going to build them, like... I didn't mention this. I'll mention this here in a minute. I'll show you in a second. I guess we're going to build them here. Again, not a lot of turrets. It's kind of whatever. Gonna build up all this stuff. We might go through all of our metal. We might not. We'll see here in a minute. So let's go back to Star Maker real quick. You may wonder why I built all my turrets out here as opposed to protecting them under my force field. I used to do that. I used to put all my turrets there, and then I realized, I think it tells us, if we hover over a turret, and do we hit, is it Control or Alt? Maybe it's under force field. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the home force field generators, the ones that you put on planets to protect basically the command center, protects nearby ships and structures. Units protected by this will deal half the usual damage. Completely immobile, thus unable to be pushed by the Norris effect. This unit cannot regen or be repaired until 5 seconds pass after it is damaged by an enemy. So essentially, all your turrets will do half damage if under this planet force field. If you're under this force field or the one generated by our number 1 fleet, it will not affect you. I am going to wait until the first of the force fields are built and you see all the considerable engineers floating around doing what engineers do, which is nice. And once I see that first force field built, I'll be pretty happy. And we're going to actually start our hack at that point. And we're just going to move over to hacks right now and prepare. Come on, get built. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, folks. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, as you are stopping on through and taking a peek at AI War 2 on the Steam store page here, I would be remiss not to mention that, yes, right now, as part of the Steam Autumn Sale, we are currently 60% off on AI War 2, 60% off on the Spire Rises, the first DLC of AI War 2, and the latest DLC, the Zenith Onslaught, is 25% off. So make sure you guys grab that. Savings all throughout the Autumn Steam Autumn Sale. The Autumn Steam Autumn Sale. That's right, we're doubling down on the Autumn there. We could do the Autumn Steam Fall Sale. We can really mix it up if we wanted. Anyhow, during the sale, it's 60, 60, and 25% off. And the rest of the Arkan Games library. We're talking The Last Federation. We're talking Bionic Dues. We're talking Star Wars Rogue, and so on and so forth. Even the original AI War, Fleet Command. All of it, 75% off, so you guys can save a whole bunch of money and grab some just fantastic games. So, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to dive in and begin our adventure in the realm of hacking. Now, there's not much for us to do other than click this. It's just going to happen. It's going to show us which ones we can grab. Now, I am personally of the belief that we should have 2 major fleets. This is not necessarily the right way to play. It's how I like to play. It simplifies things for me. So I tend to get one giant fleet of just amalgamated mess. And then I get another fleet that's all infinite range. And then basically I send both of those fleets around to do the different things I need them to do. Like if we were to attack this, for instance, you know, the main fleet would be here attacking. And the infinite range would be like off all the way across the map and just shooting at it. So right now, I don't believe any of these are infinite range. Oh, I'm wrong. The first one is. Okay, well, we're going to grab that then. It is hard to get a very strong infinite range group. But when you can, it's really good. Now, there are some small things that we need to know here. So the small things that we need to be aware of are there are various different strengths that we get when we hack things. So you see, this is actually the weakest unit that we can pick up at the 0.77 for less than 15 seconds, 2x damage to the target. If the target engine power is okay. Specialist at picking off unaware targets, particularly those with powerful engines. All right. Anyhow, also aggro invisible. Enemy target ships and structures, mainly guard posts, that contain guards cannot detect the ship, and the ship cannot fire upon those targets. Huh. It's upgraded by tech, weapons, ambush. Alright, so basically the last couple things there. It's got a light hull, and it's got ambush as its weapon core. Again, this is probably the wrong thing to get at this stage in the game. For most people, I would probably recommend either the Vanguard, the Electric Bomber, or the Light Mine Layer Frigate even. To get a frigate going this early, you see it's got considerable more strength than everything else. Probably the better options, but I have plans, so I'm going this route. So we're starting the hack. It's going to be 15 seconds. There's going to be an AI response to this, and you'll see them spawning in. As more of the response happens, they'll spawn in waves, but this is all going to be right at the end. So there they are. And they're going to try to attack us. And as soon as we finish that hack, we have the line, and it's going to start getting built. Now, the big downside right now is we don't really have another flagship that we can throw our infinite range stuff on, which is fine.
You bet, sir.
All right, so we did the first hack. The second hack went from 12 to 18, and the response is going to be an 11 strength. We are going to do that, and this time we got a gun bot, we got a metabolizing gang saw. Oh, they're giving me stuff, and I love it. And they're giving me the Sentinel gunboat. I might be shooting myself in the foot. We're making our Fleet 1 way too weak and our infinite range already too strong. We'll see. Should be fine. The hack will be done in 4 seconds. And there it is. You see a much bigger response the second time we go to hack something. We should be fine to take this out. We do have all of our planetary defenses and defenders like these assault frigates and sentry frigates helping. I'm moving around. I'm trying to keep people inside of the shield, which is good, but at the same time, sometimes it's also bad. The reason it's bad is because some of these try to back up and get their like perfect range, and that can prove to be a little difficult. All right, so the science teams actually pulled all the science out of this planet, and we're not going to gain any more. It's too early right now, still for me at least, to go into tech and be like, oh, I need to put points into this, because I don't know yet what the best thing to do. Most people recommend you skip the hull for quite a while, and you focus on your weapons when you know where that's going to be best used. So that's, I guess, the plan for right now. All right, let's get our final hack on. This might go weird. Something is happening. Oh, they're sending a small force through. So you see the tractors have grabbed things immediately. Well, apparently they all grabbed one thing. And our response is pretty heavy-handed. We got our turret shooting, and a little bit of the incursion wave there just got obliterated immediately. So this might be a little bit more difficult. Our third hack. Don't give me any more infinite range. I need stuff for this guy. Okay, good. Alright, subterfuge. Fragile yet mobile strikecraft, firing missiles that do bonus damage to the thinly armored targets while resisting longer range fire. Interesting. Then space plane. Cloaked fighter with near immunity to distant hostiles. Oh. And then the mine layer frigate. You know what? Why not? Let's go that route.
Our hackers are starting.
I generally don't like getting frigates that early on, but yeah, sometimes they're pretty good. This is going to be a lot that we're going to fight. Try to keep him inside the shield. They're pushing through to break through our shield, and it's working. But we can always move them with the force of our bubble shield too. And you can even control an individual shield if you want to let your guys get to the range they need to be at, and keep as many safe as you want and can. So we handled this. This was not that big of a deal. If we take a look at our fleets, honestly, not much has really happened to us. We're missing some forces. These will all auto-replenish. Actually, a lot of it's just damage. So we're only going to replace one troop, and the rest will just be repaired once the battle's over. And likewise, probably some damage on support Harun's stuff overall. So one of the reasons I really appreciate and love this game is because it's one of the few RTS games out there where you're not just like click, build this, build that, build the click. You're not doing that 365,000 times a second to make sure you're being as efficient as possible. This is one where most of the stuff happens autonomously. It just goes and it builds it all up. And all you really need to do is manage, building some stuff on your planets, figuring out where you're going next and what you're doing, and fighting. You actually get to fight the individual battles and see what's happening and enjoy it. And that's something I find a lot of RTS games just don't let you do anymore these days. So I am grateful for the opportunity to have a game that actually lets me do those things, because that's what I always enjoyed. I like doing the battles. That's the thing that I want to do. When I play an RTS game, I want to build up, my tanks and my archers, my melee guys, and my, my carriers, all these things, and move troops around, drop them, strategically place them, your frontline guys being healed by medics while your back line's lobbing stuff over, and you have airs. Like, I love all that, but in RTS games nowadays, it's just click everything, send it all in a big attack move to a spot, and win. You very rarely are over there doing, like, micromanaging things. And I feel like that is fine. It's just not what I enjoy. Understood. All right, we're going to load this bad boy up. Remember I told you up here was going to be the AI being snarky and, like, important things that are happening? And then there's going to be events that pop up under this bar. So here's our first event. Korai, the place that we're in right now, is going to be attacked by a strength of 6 force coming at us in 45 seconds. So we could wait and chill, hang out, and have that done, or we could go do something else. I think I'm actually going to go to Reed real quick and take that down. I think that's going to be fine. I think we've got time to do that, so I'm going to go do that. Going to unload once we get there. Now, arguably, it may be the smarter play to unload before you get there. That way you can actually attack immediately instead of having to wait the 10 seconds. But I like the ability to be able to go and bubble what I need to bubble to keep forces from escaping. To me, that's one of the big important things. The defenses at Korai will be able to hold for a little while. So I'm going to go take a look real quick. We have our turrets here. They're almost within range. We got a lot of the paralyzing mines. And all of our little things here should be flying over. Our assault frigates and our sentry frigates and watchman frigates. They're all going to come over and make sure that this stuff gets handled. That way we can focus on what we're doing over here. Alright, this is basically done. These forces have nowhere to go anyway, so it's fine. I'm going to take a look real quick. So you see all the mines got destroyed, but these will all get automatically rebuilt when they're no longer being attacked and there's nothing on the planet to harass and annoy them. Alright, so this is going to be a really good boon. It's a... what are these things called? It's an ARC flagship. It's slow, though. That's the downside. If we look at 1, where is 1 currently? Buried under here. If we look at 1, 2200 move speed. That is basically what we're looking at for that. And we look over here at the ARC, and it's only 1400 move speed. So, significantly slower. Take care of that. We are going to build this one up. We're going economic this time. Reason being, there's no connecting anything here. They have to go through Korai in order to get to Reed. So we can fairly comfortably go economic and not have to worry about it. So I'm going to do that.
As fast as we can. Yes, sir.
And if you misplace one of your command centers, just... you could delete it and then like trash it and move it. But if you do that, the enemy AI is like, oh, you lost a command center. You fool, you're going to die, or so. Yeah, he gets real mad at you, or happy, or something. So it's not great. Like, don't do that. I've done it before. I'm like, oh, I actually need to defend this thing. I want to put it over here. It's better just to look before you place it, I guess, is the easiest way to say it.
We'll find a way.
Make sure you're placing it where you want to place it before you just plop it down, because bad stuff can happen. I learned it the hard way.
We'll make it happen.
A couple of assault frigates. Don't necessarily need these, but there's been times that I decided not to go that route, and then I regretted it, so...
Copy that.
Alright, so Core I handled it. We have 40 AIP increase going on right now because of what we've done, and you see that the mines are half rebuilt. The other half will be rebuilt soon. I don't know what they're doing. There they go. They're just kind of sitting there watching it. They're like, oh yeah, those are mines. Those are mines. They blew up earlier. We were there. We knew. Alright, doesn't matter. Alright. So now we got to make our next move. And our next move is going to be pretty simplistic, honestly. We can either go to the 40 and stop that, or we come down here, build up our military command post, and get that lost energy reactor. That's what we're going to do. This will slowly finish building everything, and then slowly lock onto this and build this thing up. Once it's fully built up, we're going to have access to it. So there's a variety of these different things. There's these arcs, there's citadels, there's other like officer flagships, and there are golems. And all of them do something a little bit different. Oh, the Norris effect displaces enemy bubble force field generators when moving into them. Huh, neat. It has a hardened great force field radius, so this comes with its own force field, which is cool. This arc flagship has a rather powerful force field generator, which it can regenerate by damaging enemies. Also takes less damage after using a wormhole. So, unlike the other flagships that we have, this one actually has its own attack and its own shield. So it will still be useful. The range is only 5,600, which is fine. So this will be useful to actually send in and attack with. But it's going to be a bit slower. So this one might end up being like I might move it to number 5 or something. Or some people would argue that it's just better to drop our current transport flagship and just use that one, which, you know, is not necessarily wrong. Or we can make this one our infinite range flagship and let the other one be the main flagship. My biggest problem is sometimes you have to skirt around the galaxy pretty quickly, and you're not going to be doing anything very quick in that particular one. Alright, let's slow the game down again here a little bit. Alright, we are here. We are unloading. They will be able to escape us this time if they really want to. So we need to kind of figure out where they're going to plan to escape from. Take them down or prevent their escape. No, it's so slow. We're not going to be able to prevent the escape, sadly. We can prevent some of them from getting away. Oh, they got something to slow us down there. That was good. That was pretty slick. Not gonna lie. Alright, so we're basically trying to hold them and not let them leave the spot. 2 is basically sending bot after bot against the other thing that's also sending bot after bot. The infinite range stuff you saw flying out there right away. These guys are trying to get down to Zade. And we're trying to prevent that. And we did a pretty okay job. Some of them still got away, but most of them didn't. Things are looking okay. take this out.
I'm intimidated by more zenith scum.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Claiming the Roqual Hegira, the arc that we picked up, also generated AI. That was something that I just apparently completely missed. Who knew? Who knew that would be a thing? Alright, taking these things down bit by bit, piece by piece. And this is going to be a military one, and we're going to build it right on top of the lost energy reactor. The reason being, it should tell us that this will raise AIP by a minor amount if destroyed, by 1. It's not necessarily that we care about the AIP increase in this situation, as we don't want that building to get blown up. That makes sense, and it should. Pretty self-explanatory. Alright, we've moved up to 77 now. And 130 is the mark that we don't want to go over, so we have to start being a little bit more cautious. Not that we've been completely uncautious, mind you. Be a little bit more careful with what we're doing. Plop that down right there. That should be built up pretty quickly. Now, one thing we can and will do is come over here and we're going to blow this up right away. This is the data center. And I'm just going to go over and do that, I guess. We'll load up our forces. We'll head toward Okai. Or Oki, I should say. Plop down our force fields here. Some tachyons there and there. And I suppose over here. And there-ish. Alright, tractor. I'm going to put 5 here. I'm going to put 5 here. And put 5 here. And maybe one more here. Then our Pike Turrets are going to mostly defend, I guess, on this side. Like, we don't get the option to really have the best positions for a lot of this right now, unfortunately. The beam turrets should be okay there. Now, ambush turrets are special turrets, specifically designed to attack and do the most damage right as things are coming through portals. So if we take a look at the ambush turret here. Deadline injector, blah, 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 a bunch of stuff there, but the important one is specializes in destroying enemies new to the planet. The attack bonus, if the target has been here for less than 15 seconds, you do 12 times the damage to the target. So putting them right at the, the points of entry, aka the portals to your planet, that means that they're going to be able to attack immediately as soon as people come to the planet. While this also makes them vulnerable and relatively easy to blow up, it will allow them to do the maximum amount of damage. Alright, I'm going to go through and we're about to go and do a quick attack right now. They're sending some baby stuff over. We'll deal with that in a minute. We'll look at it before we do this. But we're going to be coming after this. This is known as a data center. An AI server farm. The AIP, or the enemy AI progress, will be reduced by 20 if this dies. So, pretty important thing to deal with. But right now, let's go see what's going on at our home planet. They're sending a single ship through. It didn't really... Looks like there's some stealthy ships coming through. Well, they're sending a few, like a small wave to kind of test the waters, I guess. I want to just do damage to everything here, so I'm going to try to do that. Again, I don't necessarily need to do that. I'm going to try to do that regardless. Finish off the turret inside your bubble, buddy. Come on. Now you'll notice that this thing's got an IV at the bottom of it in green. That means it's a Mark IV ship. And honestly, probably stronger than what we should be dealing with right now. But we do have the strength advantage as it is a single ship versus our multitude of ships. And it just flew over a mine and got taken out.
Absolutely.
Alright, we're going to come basically right over here, and we're going to attack this right now. There's going to be some response. We're going to go hide inside of our shield bubble and just try to destroy whatever we can. They're sending, again, wave after wave of their own people against us. Thinking, what humans have the audacity to attack us? Well, these humans do. Those mine layer frigates are over there laying some mines. I mean, they do a lot of damage, and they're relatively tanky too. I mean, they're not like immune to all damage, but they're relatively tanky. Oh, they're spending sending a wave against Cartanica. I don't even know where that is. Probably one of the last things that we took. It's usually how it works. Is it this? Yep, it is. Alright, so it's going to be coming from Oki, actually, which was where we're at, or Okai. So that's fine. We've already done what we needed to do here. So we could technically at this point back out if we wanted to. It's a full minute and 38 seconds before the attack comes through. I'm not claiming this spot, I'm just weakening it. Taking out any fortifications that are built, any of the watch posts, and then we're going to leave it basically sort of crippled and not having to really deal with too much beyond that. After that's done, we come back, we fend off whatever pathetic attack they send. We are going to backtrack over here, and we're going to claim this. And we're going to start gathering up some extra turret schematics, which are going to be nice. Probably only going to get 2 of them. If we're being fair and honest, we're only going to grab probably 2. And then we're going to maybe move up to here and take that down, take this down, and then see where we're at overall. I think we'll be fine, but you never know. Alright, they've decided they want to leave. And they are sending their forces to do so. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to be able to stop all, or even most of them, to be honest.
Yes, of course.
Really? They sent some random dudes out to fight us? That's seemingly like an odd choice. It's fine, though. Alright, down you go. Watch post, or guard post, I guess. Alright, we're going to speed time up again. You can go much faster. You can go up to like 3 times the speed. I don't recommend doing that. It's too much to handle. Alright, we got 23 seconds before the attack. Again, I'm not particularly worried. I'm actually going to come over here and see if we need to be nearby. If it's going to help at all. They're probably going to spawn the forces here. They did not. They just sent them through. Alright, we're just going to plop through and kill them all, basically. Surprise! You never expected us to come through the same portal you came through. And that's fine. Felt pretty good. Not gonna lie. I enjoyed that. Alright, we're gonna do that. Let's see. We can kind of look at the fleets again, or sorry, the tech again. Ambush might actually be. You know what? I'm gonna put 1 point into ambush. We're gonna do that because we have enough stuff where it's probably gonna matter. Again, baby attacks going onto our main planet. You do need to be careful and pay attention to what is happening there, though. Specifically, your home planet is like just. It can, you know, you're fine, and then all of a sudden, surprise, your home planet's gone because you didn't notice they sent an actual real force against it. And it is the worst feeling in the world to just be like, oh no, or you realize it too late, and you're like frantically trying to fix it. It's just, it sucks. It's the worst. All right, we're going to load everybody up on 2, and then we're going to get 1 and 2 back over to our main spot. And you see that we're handling things rather nicely here. There are no new turrets for us to utilize for our main stuff, but that's fine. We can get a couple more of the assault frigates, though, because our metal's just chilling at max. And 3's hanging out over here too. I forgot about 3.
Firing up arc engines.
Alright, well, they are sending wave after wave of their own people through. Okay, so 3 is there. 1 is also here. Yep, and I figured they were going to make the play to try to escape right away. We're going to hopefully make it before they can, and we did. We blocked off their escape pattern. Oh, the polarizer is the metal looking thing. Okay. I thought they were dragging the metal harvesters around. I'm like, that's so weird. That's what they look like. That's weird. Alright, so when we claim this one, we're going to get another flagship. We're going to make that number 3. I'm probably going to make our current number 3. Let's go do this now. So you can control, you can have multiple ships on one number. You can move stuff around. If you don't like 1 being your strike fleet, maybe you want to put it as 5, you can totally do that. I'm actually going to move the mobile officer here, the Ark of the Covenant over here. We're going to move this over to probably number 5. And you'll see that you can press 5 and control it, it's fine. It's not like overwhelmingly strong, but it's okay. Like, it does stuff. You know, I'm gonna actually have 5 blow up the thing over here. So we're gonna go back up to the 77 AIP we were at before. The purpose of that planet was to store industrial waste. I should have known it would attract you humans. The old tongue wagging, insulting AI. It's pretty great. Alright, I think the way I want to do this is I'm going to want to build, like, maybe here. And then I can put my defenses in front and use them for both Stacko Wiak and Levo. Alright, the AIP is still at 77. That's not bad. We're going to be able to hack this, get some additional defenses. For this spot in particular, so my ideal situation is to either make it to, like, all the way down here, which we're probably not going to be able to do. We might, though. The way things are looking, there is the possibility we can actually pull that off. So, real quick, just to run through some other stuff as we're seeing more and more of the galaxy expand here. This is a fleet research station. Essentially, it's going to give us some, like, incredibly powerful ship lines, but the trade-off is it is going to cost us AIP to hack it. It's going to cost us hacking points and AIP to hack it. And we can only hack it once. And the ships will not be upgradable. So whatever rank, and I think those are either 5 or 7. I'm not real sure. Like maybe the Inciting Parasite's 7 or 6 or something. And the Turbo Raider's 5. Something along those lines. Because they're a slightly different color. And it's all based off of color. Like the different levels or tiers of the stuff. I want to say it goes from... I don't know what tier 1 is. I mean, we got a bunch of tier 1 units. Is that the tan color? Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, tier 1s are going to be, I guess, just... Is everything tier 1? Mark 1, yeah, it's just like yellowish tan here. And then Mark 2 is going to be this dark orange. Mark 3 is... You don't remember? I don't remember. All right, we'll go to tech. We'll pop it up right now. Yes, upgrade. I think it's that blue, right? Yeah, it's the blue. All right, apologies. It's blue. I believe Mark 4 is green. Mark 5 is dark, like a dark orange. And then Mark 6 is a red, and Mark 7 is a purple. I believe those are the different things. So you can see color coordinating, like even on planets, what they're considered. This is a Mark II planet, a Mark III. This is a Mark VI. We got a Mark IV over here. It's all, like I said, all color coded. Stuff that you can notice at a glance. Mark V. So 5 and 6, yeah, it's a super dark orange versus, where's the 6? Versus a dark red. They look very similar, but there is a difference there. Anyhow, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go next. I got distracted by showing you guys a bunch of stuff. Oh, and I didn't even tell you the thing I wanted to tell you. I showed you the fleet-wide thing. Other important things to note, we already know these are flagships here. Again, this is another data center. We get 20 AIP back from blowing that up, 20 AIP back from blowing that up. Over here, it's another 20. This is a special one. It's a super terminal. Be mindful and be aware, I forgot this the last time, that if you destroy the enemy command station, this thing itself gets blown up. And it's just gone, and it's a super sad time, and I hate it when it happens. I just totally missed that was a thing. I was ready to do it, and boom. Now, this is a crazy thing to do, though. So essentially, you just hop in, you start hacking. Every, does it tell us how many seconds? It's like every so many seconds, you get like 1 point of AIP reduced. And the longer you hack, the more you get reduced. However, the AI is like, no, you are not doing this. We are not accepting you doing this. And they will throw a lot at you. The longer you hack, the more is coming after you. So you got to balance how much you can do with, you know, how much you can handle, and then back away. It's a bit rough. It's a bit rough, but it is really good. It's a good way of getting a big chunk of AIP reduced. And the other one that might be even more important than that is this one right over here, which we're absolutely going to be going toward. And this is the major data center. Grabbing a hold of this one will lower AIP by 60. However, we have to make sure we protect it. If we're able to successfully protect it and it doesn't get blown up, we get that AIP of 60 basically permanently. If we are unable to do so, it gets blown up, AIP raises by 90. So there's a gamble element to it, but if you play your cards right and you do things the way you're supposed to, should be pretty easy. So we're going to claim this one. We're probably going to maybe just make a straight shot to that and then clean up some of the other stuff. Because this is going to put us at 97 and then 107, then minus 60. And then we can take these two and this one. And then we might have to do a surgical strike down here to claim that. And then once we claim this, at that point we don't necessarily have to spread out quite as quickly or as much. Because we'll actually have a couple of good choke points. We could switch everything out to economic if we wanted to on the backside instead of having, a little mix and match of stuff going on here. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I tend to go a bit heavy with the economic anyway. So yeah, we'll see how it all plays. All right.
I have the same thought myself.
We are going to be building this one up. It is also going to be going economic. And we're going to plop it down up here is what I decided.
10-4.
Alright, we'll start the hacking soon, but I want to make sure that we get, again, the force fields out first. Kind of the most important thing, in my opinion.
Make it happen.
In my oh so humble opinion. I kind of just want to throw, like, I know I prefer to put them in other places, but I'm going to try putting them there for right now. Let's see, and then we have our Pike Turrets, which are... they exist. So as soon as we see one of these things get built, I'm gonna pump into it real quick. We're gonna be able to do our defensiveness here. Plopping our one guy here. And our shield should be coming up, and we're gonna start our hack right now. All right, so you can see you can steal 3 times the amount for one thing, or you can get it for all. It just feels better to do it for all. All right, so we've got a few options here. We have the Death Grip Turret, we have the Blaster Turret, the Acid Turret, and the Translocator Turret. I like the Translocator Turret, but it's a little weird because it pushes and shoves enemies away, and that kind of throws stuff off a little bit. This has got damage amplification. Every time it hits a target and it's AoE, and it's got a decent range, it will also amplify the damage on it. Then we have the Blaster one, solid all-rounder, dealing more damage than normal, but has no bonus effects. Just a good turret to have. And then this one, the Death Grip Turret. What is it? It has a small tractor beam. Yep, and does more damage to units held in one. That's kind of hilarious. I think we're gonna go with the Acid Turret. I don't know that I've seen that before. I'm curious to see how that one actually plays out.
Roger that.
And here comes the first wave. What is this? That's a mine layer frigate. Where is the shieldy boys? Do not sell. Is that one? Yeah, there we go. Kind of want to put the shieldy boys up top. All right, so we're just going to plop down 2 of these. We got through the first one. Ooh, Interceptor Turret. Ooh, infinite range turret. What? Absolutely. I love the infinite range style. I mean, I'm sure you guys know this by now, but they're real good. And the fact that this is already upgraded is just a sweet, sweet bonus. And, again, now every single place actually can throw down the additional turrets, like the Acid Turret, for instance. And once we hack the infinite range turret, we'll be able to do that. And that one's pretty cool because you can literally put it anywhere across the map as far away as possible. And only other infinite range stuff will be able to hit it, or they have to close, distance across the map to get to it.
Plot new course.
And these are great things. We did this so well that I feel like we can probably handle the next one. I wasn't going to do the next one, but I think I have to now. I'm also going to go back to some of these other places just to build these up. Now you'll notice on your home planet, you get a whole bunch of these bad boys. You get 20, not just 4, which is really nice. And same thing with the Acid Turrets. And all of our little bastions, our little shield wall dealies and all that stuff are, what are they called again? I can never remember the name. Battle stations, sorry. All of our battle stations will also get the advantages there, which is nice. So we really, really what am I doing? I'm doing the wrong thing that I do not want to do. So it really increases your overall defensive strength when you're able to get these turret schematics. It makes barely defensible position much more tenable if you're able to do that. So right there, we just got a whole bunch. I mean, we can keep going from planet to planet. We are going to stop off at a few to make sure that we have as much as possible to defend ourselves with. Because it's just super important to do that, You want to make yourselves as powerful as possible. Don't care so much about Reed. Reed should be fine. We shouldn't have to worry about Reed. It's really the ones that are, I guess, kind of on the front lines, so to speak, that we really need to more or less protect and reinforce. And of course the home planet as well. That's one that we always, no matter what, want to reinforce with everything that we can. Speaking of which, let's go back here. And I believe we did, okay. I was gonna say, I believe we didn't finish all the station keepers. We totally did. Alright, let's get our final hack on. I guess we can. Like, it's not been that big of a response. We've been able to easily handle it, so Harmonic Turret, not sure anything special about it. No, but does more damage for each one on the planet up to a cap. That's interesting. Maybe. Sorry, we have the ablative turret, crippling to units with high radiation shielding. We have acid turret. We already have one of those. And then the ruffian turret. It's got very long range, slightly cheaper to build, has fairly long range, and resists enemy long range fire. It's not bad. Core weapon, subterfuge. You know what? Let's go with that.
Hackers are starting.
I'm curious. Oh, hey, Stonga. Sorry, I had not looked over. Apologize. I had not looked over in a little while there for chat. It's been relatively dead. I've been pretty heavily focused on teaching everybody all there is to know, and always feel free, guys and gals. Usually I'm a bit more attentive into chat, but it was dead for about an hour and a half, so I haven't looked in the last 10 to 15 minutes. You can always feel free to hop into chat, because anytime AI War 2 is live streaming on the Steam channel, I will most likely be the one doing it, first off, and secondly, it will actually be live, so you can, of course, interact with me. Be like, hey, what's up? So Stonga, one of my regulars, he's here. He's showing up, showing off. And essentially, 30 minutes extended Steam. Speaking of space, did you know that Voyager 1 was sent to outer space in 1977? Have reached interstellar space? Oh, that was sent out. Oh. It's picking up some weird stuff. So what exactly is the definition for interstellar space? Because I do not believe I know what that means. I know it's a word, but I don't think I have the exact definition in my head. So if you'd be so kind as to explain that to me, I would appreciate it.
Copy that.
Because what it seems like it would mean. Oh, that's right. We're getting this. We're gonna be able to have our infinite range fleet. This is gonna be pretty good. I'm pretty excited. What's going on with Core I? It's under attack by what? By nothing, apparently. So we're gonna wait till 3 is done here, and then we're gonna get everything going.
Honestly, we didn't even know that would turn on.
We didn't even know that would turn on anymore. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do a little bit of fleet swappage. So we have the Zethus, it's our main fleet here. We're gonna go here, we're gonna do multi-swap, and we're gonna look at, they have the Pulsar Punk, the Suppressor Frigate. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, they got tractor beams. Oh, this is a fun one. I like the Suppressor Frigates. They basically, you can grab units and drag them around. It's hilarious. I love it so much. And the Grivik pod. Ridiculously dangerous against high-powered engine ships. Yeah. Anyway, we're taking these 3. And we're going to be swapping over to the number 3 fleet. We're going to be giving them all of our infinite range stuff. So, the Tripper. I think we only have 2. And the Sentinel gunboat. Feels like we have more. It feels like we have a lot more than 2. But I think we only have the 2 right now. And that's not a bad start. And then we can see the considerable differences here in a minute. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and hit V to make sure everybody's on the same side. I'm going to load up 3. I guess I don't technically need V on 3. I'm never going to really want them to go in and do anything. Alright, we're loading up 1, 3, all of it. Alright. So the next plan, it's the space between the stars, between solar systems. Okay. So it basically, it made it out of, I know we're in the Milky Way galaxy, and I've heard the Sol system, but I think that's all fantasy. Is that what we're actually considered that we're in? Is it the Sol system, or is that all just sci-fi mumbo jumbo? Because, you know, the sun is our star, right? We're going to be more than fine handling that. Did we plop down all of our turrets? We didn't plop down the harmonic turrets yet.
We won't let you down.
We're going to do that now. Harmonic. Again, this might not even be where they attack us from if they come through. They may attack us from over here or somewhere else entirely. This is one of those things where the first time they send an exo wave against our planet and just attack us, we need to figure out where they're coming from and make adjustments based on that, because, yeah.
We'll get it built.
I think a couple of those might be within the force field. I'm going to leave it. It's fine. I'm not going to leave it. You know I'm not going to leave it. I can't leave it. It's got to be destroyed. I don't even know if that one actually is. I didn't get this one with it? Come on. Come on. The space between stars. Isn't everything except a planet a space between stars? And even the planet's space between stars? It's one of those things that's hard to really 100%, I guess, speak or say or describe. I don't know what the right word is there. It's like, I get what you're saying. I do. Totally get it, but it just seems like a bad definition in general, and I don't think it's you giving the bad definition. The Sol system. It made it out of our own solar system. Gotcha. The gravitation forces of our solar system is not affecting it anymore. Oh, okay. Interesting. So it's completely outside the pool of the sun's gravity. I understand. Like I said, it's one of those things that's kind of hard to lock down an exact name or definition for it. But yeah, no, I think you've nailed it pretty much, through all of the things there. All right, so we're gonna go hit here, and then we're gonna hit this thing. We got a 1, we got a 3, a 2, and I guess 5's coming through as well.
I've set us on course.
No, oh, I didn't want to do that. Well, we're doing it. We're doing it anyway. I wanted to unpause, and I didn't do that. Alright, 3, come over here and unload. So you can see the beauty of the infinite range being separated from the rest right now. So you see how 3 is just shooting stuff? It's off to the side. I don't have to do anything with it anymore. It's just going to do its job at this point. And that's pretty great. You don't have to send it around to do stuff. It's just going to take shots at things and shoot it. Right now, to be fair, it does not have the strongest grouping of things. So it's not doing a tremendous amount of damage. I'm going to take that out. AIP's at 97.
Industrial waste. I should have known it would attract you humans.
Yeah, industrial waste. You're mocking us again. Appreciate you. Is there anything special here? No, there's not. All right. You know what? We'll go logistics again. Go logistical.
Roger that.
Moving out.
All right, loading it up. We are going to go to Mikami soon enough.
Of course, sir.
1 and 3. So many things. All right, force fields. Let's plop those down.
We'll get
Bloop.
it done or die trying.
Tractors. It's going to plop, again, a few things around here.
10-4.
It did not switch. Still didn't switch. Switch. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and plop these guys down and around. Hopefully you have a little bit better understanding of how the game works at this point. And this is essentially what you do. You try to balance what you're getting out of the AIP without trying to raise it rapidly or too quickly. The more places you control, the more chances you have of just bad Juju Magumbo happening. You got to make sure you make the right choices when it comes to what you're controlling and what you're taking over. And, it's going to be a lot of trial and error when it comes to these things. We got about 5 or 6 minutes left of the stream. So we're going to try to take over the last little bit here.
I'll find a way, sir.
Okay, some acid turrets there, some harmonic turrets over here. The interceptor turrets, I'm just going to plop them way up here and hope that everything else distracts them from that. And then the pikes are going to kind of go in the middle, I guess. Alright, so that should more or less be done. Alright, we're here and we're unloading. 3 is going to go there. 4, we don't have a 4, we have a 5 though. 3 is going to unload here. We're starting to overtax our metal. We have plenty of power though. So when your metal becomes exhausted, you burn through what you have, your reserves and everything else, and there's too much. It is a 27% drain. Essentially, we're not going to be able to increase or replenish any of our fallen ships for a little bit. Minute 27 seconds, and we're not going to be able to really finish stuff. We're going to be operating at a very low percentage. Alright, so we're going to head down here to try and block this off before they make it. And it looks like we are. We're actually keeping them repulsed. Actually, this the fleet that we have, I was unaware of this one actually being a thing. It's interesting. I say unaware. I didn't know it was this one. I thought it was the one that had the tractor beams that pulled people and you could drag them around. This just keeps them off of things, which is interesting but different. So remember, when we go to take this thing out, we got to make sure we protect that at all costs. If that falls, the whole world ends. Not really. It's gonna be real bad, so we'll make sure it doesn't fall. Alright, we've almost solved our metal issue. And in about 15 seconds, it looks like it'll be done. Yeah, go for it, Stone. No problem. Alright, and there it is. It is down and out. And we're going to claim this one, and it's going to push us up to 107, which is not going to trigger anything new. The AIP mark is at 130, so we're not going to trigger that. And the next, like, assault problem is going to be elsewhere. Gonna go a little risky here. And we are going to go economic. Like I said, it's risky. The reason I'm going economic is because I plan to take the surrounding 2 relatively rapidly. And that should be fine. Alright, let's go ahead and get this last little bit up. We're claiming this, and 60 AIP has been reduced. We're down to 57 now from the 107, which is pretty good. And you're probably thinking, shouldn't it be lower than that? And I believe the AIP floor is... No, it's 47. 107. 107. Yeah, no. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Am I doing math wrong here? Isn't 107 minus 50 57? Or did we go up to 117? Maybe I missed what number we were at before. Oh yeah, we were at 97. We went up to not 107. We went up to 117. Okay, it makes sense. I'm like, I feel like my math is wrong somewhere. No, I was thinking the number was different. Okay, makes sense. We're good. Everything's good. We're fine. Everything is okay. All right, gravity generator probably down here. Tractor. I'm gonna go take this one first, and then we'll see where that puts us. Interceptor turret is the max range, or infinite range, I should say. And to be fair, the economic one does not bring a lot to the table when it comes to defensive capabilities. I mean, we know this, but just reiterating it. Starting now. All right. And we're going to get another flagship. We're going to actually pull whatever's on there off of there. And then we're going to actually just retire it. We're probably going to make it fleet number 5, or sorry, 0.
Honestly, we didn't even know that went
And we're going to send it back to home base. Now, a fleet that has nothing in it seems kind of useless, but not necessarily, because sometimes something might get taken over, but you reclaim it, or could reclaim it because nothing's actually defending it. But you need a fleet in order to reclaim something or build it or whatever. So, or say we have an area that we kind of wiped out and we just haven't built a thing in. Again, they have their uses. They do. All right, we're going to go to Fleet 1, and we're going to pull all of the stuff off that fleet, Fleet 0, over to us. Did I put them to Fleet 8? No, it's Fleet 10. Okay, sorry. It's strength of 8. So we get some assault frigates, which is nice. Some much needed damage, electric bomber, and the parasitic bomber. No, yeah. Okay. So here's one of the things that's really cool, and I love them so much, and I hope we get a few more. There's Parasite Units in this game. Essentially, you infect and zombify enemy units that you destroy, and they have a mind of their own. The mind is always set to either anti-player, if the enemy has it, or in this case, anti-AI zombies. So they'll stay there, they'll fight, they'll do whatever, and then they're like, all right, let's go find other things to fight. They'll just wander off and do stuff. It's really cool. I love the zombie boys. They are amongst my favorites. I love an infinite range fleet, and I love a zombie parasitic, like, not a fleet necessarily, but those things mixed in with our normal fleet. That way, when we do the damage, it's pretty devastating. It also turns the tide of battle. You know, maybe we're evenly, matched 500 for 500, strength. And then, we kill off, while hiding behind our shields, we kill off a good 100 of theirs. All of a sudden, that's 100 zombie units coming at them. And then it's, essentially 600 to 400. So it's good stuff. It is good stuff in general. All right, loading up 3 and 2 and 1, and 5's already loaded up. We're going to head on over to make our attack into Draconi, but that's going to really... Let me pause it. That is really going to do it for our stream today, guys and gals. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun showcasing the game and kind of giving you guys an understanding or an explanation of what to do when you're starting off. Things to look for, stuff to familiarize yourself with. One final big important thing I want to mention while you're doing all this stuff is to take your time. There's the active pause. You can pause, unpause the game at will. If you want to know how something works, you might be frustrated, be like, all right, let's do, okay, and you just kind of glance over it and you just miss important details. So take your time, look around, say, oh, there's a flagship there. Oh, there's a flagship here, Look at what they have. It even tells you what specific units the flagship has. This one has another parasitic fusion bomber sitting on it. I'm going to be going after that soon. Actually, I think it has the exact same. It's got electric bomber, fusion bomber, and parasitic fusion bomber. That's great. This one over here, it's got a metabolizing gang saw. I don't care for those. Cluster bombs. It's fine. We'll add them to it, but it's just So yeah, take your time, look around, see what the various different things do, and try not to make a critical mistake. Try to plan out what you're going to do, how you're going to attack, what you want to hold to start with, and make your strides toward that. And as you start to grow in power and strength, make sure you go back into attack and you start looking at where best to spend your points. Looks like piercing is going to be an important one for us. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. And exotic will probably also be important down the line if we can get some more parasitic troops. So I'm going to go double points into piercing. And that alone is going to bring up our overall power. Another one that I like to do if we have a lot of frontline military and we're starting to struggle to hold it, pumping a little bit into the military command outposts and some more into force fields, or even station keepers, all have their own, massive benefits. I would wait to hold off. I would hold off a bit on upgrading the hulls for a while, but I'm not one that's 100% against it. Some people totally are. So take from that what you will. Finally, I'm going to do the engineering and the orbital mining just to kind of shore up our economy a little bit more, and that should help us overall. All right, folks, as I said, that's it for the stream. Just wanted to touch on those several more points that maybe I didn't get to in this beginner's stream. We do have more streams scheduled during the Steam Autumn Sale. I will give you guys those times right now. So tomorrow and Tuesday, so Monday and Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, running through till 3 p.m. Eastern, we have an AI War 2 stream. And we're kicking off early on Wednesday, December 1st, the last day of the Steam Autumn Sale at 8 a.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to see some more AI War 2 and continue this kind of lecture and playthrough that we're doing right now, by all means show up. Would appreciate it. Thank you guys for stopping by. I had a lot of fun. Always glad to teach and share, especially games that I really, really am passionate about and or really like. So good stuff, good times all around. I want to thank you guys for watching. I have been your host, Bumpy McSquigums. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.